Hi, everybody. Welcome to this webinar training on the 5 best herbs for your home apothecary. And I just want to say these aren't the best herbs. There are a lot of herbs out there that you could have chosen. And I had a really hard time dialing this down to just 5. But these are 5 herbs that are very common. You can find them in the grocery store, and they have multiple uses. So we're going to dive into this training in just a moment. And I think you're really going to enjoy this. I'm going to actually share my screen. But before I do, I want to introduce myself. I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead, and I teach online herbalism and also in person at the School of Botanical Arts and Sciences. And I just want to share that this webinar is going to give you a nice little head start into using common herbs for your home apothecary. So buckle up. I think you're going to enjoy this a lot. This is 5 easy to find best herbs for your home apothecary, and I think you're going to love this. And, I know you're probably here because you are interested in using herbs for your wellness and your health. And you've probably heard that they can do an amazing job in terms of just helping you deal with common ailments. And so you don't have to use the drugstore or even sometimes get off your prescription medications. And I know that is exactly what happened to me. So I want to encourage you to watch this full webinar. This time is just for you. You're going to find some really interesting information in here. And I also want to let you know that you do not have to take notes, because if you stay till the end, I'm going to give you this book, and everything that I'm going to share with you about the herbs is in this book, 5 Herbs for Your Home Apothecary. There are recipes in here. So it's actually a lot more than what I'm going to share with you in this webinar. And I think you're really going to love this book. It's 29 pages. It's downloadable and printable. And here I am with my granddaughter. I'm a community herbalist and aromatherapist. I'm certified with NAHA and AIA. NAHA is a National Aromatherapy Professional Organization. AIA is international. I'm very proud to say I've got a level 2 certification, which is hundreds and hundreds of hours of study, and I'm working on my level 3, which is the highest level right now. I'm a gardener and a plant lover. I'm a fur baby mama, tons of animals, and feather baby mama, I should say too. We have quite a few chickens. I'm a homesteader. I really believe in self-reliance and being able to do as much as you can on your own. I'm a teacher, I'm a writer, and I am a grandmother to several budding herbalists. And that little baby in that picture was my little granddaughter, Malia. She was out picking chamomile with me that day. So I'm wondering if this sounds like you, because this was me years ago. I didn't grow up in a family with herbalism. I, like most people, was taught that you go get a pill or you go see a doctor if you have any kind of a problem at all, even if it's something that can be handled at home. If you get sick, you have an infection, you go to the doctor, you get an antibiotic. And then for many women like myself, you might even have to get yeast infection medications on top of it. And then you're probably taking your usual over-the-counter medications at the same time. But you want to be giving your family the best and the safest natural remedies. What I've heard from people over and over is that they're worried they're going to mess up and poison someone. So maybe that's you. Or maybe you're like I was, and you're just totally fed up with the medical system. That's where I got. And you just want independence from big pharma for many, many reasons, to feel better and be healthier, but also just in case you can't get what you need. I run across people in my business who can't get their medications right now, or it's taking a really long time. Or maybe you're this person, you just want more control and empowerment over your family's health choices, and you want to save money using real medicinal plants, but you don't really know where to begin. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can garden even if you're in an apartment, and you can grow many of your own medicinal herbs yourself. But a lot of people don't know this. So give me a yes if you are in any of these categories right here. I know I was all of them. So when I first started learning herbs, and this was so many years ago, probably over 20, 30 years ago, when I very first started, and it took me a very long time to learn. So I'm going to talk with you about how to speed that process up if you're interested. My own epiphany was this. I used to rely on the over-the-counter drugs to get to sleep and then to wake up in the morning because they made me feel really groggy and awful, and also just to deal with any and all discomforts. I was on different prescription drugs. I was on Oxycontin for pain relief or for pain in my back, my L4, L5. I was on anti-anxiety drugs. I was on blood pressure drugs. I was on literally so many, and I was young. I was not even very old, and I felt terrible. I was extremely healthy in terms of my eating and working out and taking care of myself, but I just went to the doctor to take care of my medical issues and complaints. And I was feeling so bad. And one day I just woke up. I knew why I felt so bad. I couldn't figure it out all these years. And one day it was just like this light bulb, but it was all of the over the counter drugs and prescriptions that I've been using for years and years and years, literally years. I even had one doctor tell me that my liver was probably shot because doctors had prescribed antibiotics and tetracycline and Accutane to me for a period of going on 2 decades for my rosacea, a skincare condition. It's a type of acne that's very painful. That was a defining moment for me when he told me this. I drew a line in the sand and I went completely natural. I got off the prescription medications. I got off of the over-the-counter medications. I just basically said, enough is enough is enough. And I had picked up an herbal book at that point, and I had started making tinctures and herbal teas and salves. And lo and behold, they worked. And not only did they worked better than the medications that I was on. And over time, using the herbs, my body healed. And herbs are wonderful. They can give you immediate relief, and they can also heal you over time. So that's just a little bit about my own story. I haven't taken any medications for about 10 years now, at least, and it's incredible. These are the things I no longer deal with, and I won't go into the list, but they're common things: gas and bloating, anxiety, upset stomach, grogginess, inability to sleep, insomnia. It's awful for me. Side effects: yeast infections, L4, L5, my back. Oh my goodness. And I was getting ready to need to have surgery and didn't have to. Also, my husband and I have saved literally thousands of dollars over the years, an estimated minimum of $20,000. And I'm going to say probably more. We've had little arguments about this. He thinks it's probably more like $40,000. We still had kids at home there for a while. And so he's including everybody in that. But definitely for me, for sure. We're medically self-reliant at this point. We grow most of our medicinal herbs, and I know how to use them for our family. I know exactly what's in our medicines, and I know that because guess what? I make them myself. Everything I make myself right now. And that may not always be the case, but right now it is. And I'm thrilled to death. The other thing is I can give my grandchildren natural options, and I can teach them. I'm leaving a legacy for both my children and my grandchildren one day. And I think that's just one of the most exciting things about this journey and this path. Herbs have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and people have used them for thousands and thousands of years. And the fact of the matter is that we in our modern times have lost this knowledge. It's gone. We've lost it. So it's up to us right now in this place, wherever you are, to please start learning. And so you can pass it on. It's amazing. Start learning how to use herbs medicinally so that you can be a benefactor for your family. Let's go ahead and talk about what's ahead if you start using herbs. And we're going to get into the 5 herbs in just a moment that'll get you started. You're going to be feeling confident and safe in your herbal choices. You'll be prepared. You'll experience true healing and not just masking. The medical industry with its drugs is all about managing symptoms. It's not about true healing. And that's what herbal medicine can do for you. It's about empowering your own health choices. So you can take a diagnosis that you get from a doctor, and then you can walk away and you can think about, okay, do I want to take the medical advice, or do I want to try something natural instead? And then you can reach out to other herbalists or naturopaths and get some other answers, and then you can make your own decisions. I'm serious about this, you're going to save literally thousands of dollars. The only thing is when you start learning herbalism, there are roadblocks. And these are things that I think all of us deal with to a certain extent when we start learning herbs. And that is that you can't always trust sources online. The information is not easy or organized to find. There's a lot of conflicting advice out there, tons of it. So you need to find herbalists who you trust. The information is literally overwhelming. You don't really know which herbs to start with. I'm going to share that with you today. You don't know where to begin. I help people find that beginning point and move and make progress quickly. I know when I was first starting, I didn't know which herbal preparations were the best. Would it be a tincture? Would it be a spray? Would it be an herbal tea? Are the ones that I'm choosing actually safe? Are they good for my family? And will they work? There's always that question, is this really going to work? And obviously we hope it does. And usually I have to say, people get pretty good results with herbs, sometimes excellent results. Most of the time, excellent results. Time. Do you have enough time to do this? And I'm going to say, yes, you do. And I'm going to show you how. What about the cost? Using herbs is so inexpensive. You can grow most of them, or like this bundle of sage I just held up a moment ago, you can purchase them in the grocery store, or you can purchase them from bulk herb places. And I have a lot of sources for purchasing herbs. Another question I get often is, how do I talk my family into going natural? I can tell you right now that when you start this journey, you might have some pushback. You need to expect that. But when you start using herbs that work and preparations that work, and your family sees this and experiences it, most family members get all in. They say, this is amazing. All right. So I want you to think about today, why did you show up? Was it for any of the reasons that I just gave you? Or maybe you've got some additional ones that you are thinking about. So if you do, you can go ahead and write to me and tell me about that. The fact of the matter is that you can have better health for you and your family. And right now we're going to get into the herbs. You're going to love this. These herbs are common herbs. We've got alliums up there. We're going to talk about garlic. We're going to talk about thyme, sage, chamomile, and we're going to also talk about ginger. And I think you're going to just really be amazed at all the things these 5 herbs can do. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and start with thyme. And I've got a little thyme bundle right here. Oh, and I just can't pick up thyme without smelling it. It smells delicious, so good. And I've also got dried thyme right here. This is from my garden from last year. Thyme is an aromatic herb. It contains volatile oils, and so there are also essential oils. And I'm an herbalist who uses both herbs and essential oils very skillfully, and that's because I've got the essential oil certification and I know what I'm doing with them. I can tell you right now that you can really empower the effects of the herbs and the oils by using them together. And that's another thing that I teach. So let's talk more about thyme. Thyme is a member of the Lamiaceae family. So this little plant is actually a member of the mint family. Lamiaceae is the mints. The leaves are the parts that are used. Energetically, it's a warming and drying plant. If you are a cold person, thyme is probably going to be helpful. If you're dealing with a wet condition, thyme is going to be very helpful. Here are some of the properties that thyme has. Thyme is an amazing antibacterial. Thyme is actually one of the first plants that I turn to when I want to have some kind of a topical antibiotic. And here I've got some thyme infused oil. This is a base that I use for salves and things like that. It's an antimicrobial. It's an antiseptic. It's a carminative, which means it's a digestive. It helps your stomach. It's a diaphoretic. It's helpful for fevers. It's an antispasmodic. So if you're dealing with intestinal issues where there's spasms going on or bloating, gas, things like that, thyme is actually really helpful. It's an expectorant, so it can help loosen up stuck mucus in your respiratory system. It's an emmenagogue. This means that it can be very helpful for menstrual periods, menstrual times. It's a vermifuge and an antiparasitic, so it kills worms. Isn't that great? And then it's an aromatic. Like I said a minute ago, if it's an aromatic herb, it does contain most likely essential oils. So here are some uses for thyme. You've got infections. In fact, I've treated my animals and myself, both with, eye infections and different kinds of topical infections. My husband's a hard worker. He gets splinters all the time, or sometimes things will abscess. Thyme is wonderful for that. Cold and flu symptoms, including coughs, urinary tract infections, yeast infections, topical fungal infections. When used in conjunction with tea tree, I just want to say it's really excellent for helping with athlete's foot, toenail fungus, and ringworm. It's wonderful for dyspepsia, which is upset stomach, healing wounds and cuts. It helps for soothing burns. It's great for congestion. Oral care, it's a wonderful mouthwash all by itself. Inflammation and menstrual cramping. So you can see there are a ton of uses for thyme. Now, I don't have time to go into the nitty gritty here about how you would use them, but thyme can be prepared in a number of ways: herbal teas, tinctures, oils, infused oils, salves, sore throat sprays, things like that. You can do so many things with this one herb. It's amazing. So next up is German chamomile. We are not in, chamomile is not in season right now, so I don't have any fresh to show you, but I grow it every year. I do have dried. It's a lovely little flower, and it smells like apples and honey. So I really love, love, love chamomile. You can purchase chamomile tea in the stores anytime, and then you can use the tea. Or if you want to, you can buy the bulk herb and you can make infused oils and things like this. And that's, I teach how to do all those things with different plants. So German chamomile has a Latin name of Metricaria recitata. It's from the family Asteraceae, and this means it's an aster family member. The flowers are the parts used. It's energetically cooling and drying. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cooling aspect of it in terms of another similar action that it has with thyme. It's an aromatic. It does contain essential oil, and I've got a little bit of essential oil right here. It's wonderful. Chamomile is actually one of my favorite herbs and essential oils to use with children. It is so calming and soothing, and it's helpful in a number of different ways, and it's safe. So chamomile is just great. It is an aromatic. It contains essential oils. It's a nervine. It's a relaxant. Helps you go to sleep or just relax. It's a carminative, also helpful for the digestive system, and it's a diaphoretic for hot fever. So you probably noticed that thyme, let's go back to thyme here. You notice that thyme is a diaphoretic, but it's warming. Well, chamomile is a diaphoretic and it's cooling. So depending on the kind of fever you have, you might want a cooling herb or a warming herb. In the case of a hot fever that's very, very hot, you'd probably want to go ahead and use chamomile instead of thyme. It's a mild sedative. It's an antispasmodic. It's a vulnerary, which means it's incredibly healing to the skin. Incredibly. It's one of my, besides calendula, German chamomile is one of my favorite herbs to use for the skin. And it's an anti-inflammatory. And here are some uses. Look at all these uses. And there's even more. I could have listed another whole list here with chamomile. It's definitely an herb you want to have in your home and grow in your yard if you want to, if you have a garden. It's excellent for lack of focus and helping with ADHD issues, especially with children. It's excellent for irritability, restlessness, insomnia, trouble sleeping, digestion, gas and bloating, hot, wet fevers, colds and flu symptoms, teething, colic. It's really great for teething and colic in babies. It really is. And if you're a nursing mother, if your baby's having issues like this, just drink some chamomile tea. The compounds will come through the breast milk and really be helpful. It's great for burns and skin healing. I love using it along with thyme as well for conjunctivitis or eye issues. And it's great for rashes and itchy skin. It's just an overall helpful herb. So next up we have ginger. Ginger is a rhizome. A lot of people think they call it ginger root. It's actually a rhizome. And this is the fresh. Got to get it in the grocery store. Here's the dried, and you can get the dried in terms of powder and cut and sifted. And if I'm using it in herbal tea, I like the cut and sifted, which is little bits. They look, they're just little chunks of ginger that are dried. And ginger is also an aromatic, so you can get ginger essential oil, and it's, again, one of the essential oils that I always have in my house. I don't let myself run out of ginger, not the plant or the essential oil. It's also easy to grow. And by the way, all of the plants I'm sharing with you today are easy to grow, okay? So you could actually grow all of them. Ginger comes from the family Zingiberaceae, which is the family that contains things like turmeric and finger root and a bunch of other different kinds of rhizomes that are useful medicinally. Energetically, it's warming or hot and drying. And I personally feel like ginger is more of a hot herb. Just be aware of that. The essential oil, but ginger essential oil is actually simply warming, but the herb itself is generally hot. It's an aromatic, contains essential oils. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's a diaphoretic, again, for fevers, but in this case, for dry fevers where you want to sweat. It's an expectorant. It also stimulates, like thyme does, the mucus, and you can use these together. It's a carminative, so it's a digestive. It's a pain reliever. It's an analgesic. I really love using ginger in conjunction with cayenne in salves that are very warming for arthritis conditions and sore joints and muscles. It's really, really such a beautiful and helpful pain reliever. It's an antimicrobial. It's a circulatory enhancer. And it's a vermifuge, so it also kills worms. And it's a rubefacient. Along with cayenne, it brings rubefacient is something that stimulates the circulation at the surface of the skin and brings blood there, so it warms it, and it just speeds up healing incredibly well by adding ginger to topical kinds of complaints. Here are some uses. I just mentioned arthritis. It's really great for arthritis, muscle pain and sore muscles, migraines, cold and flu symptoms, nausea, gut health. It balances your gut health. Ginger is one of the best herbs to take if you've got issues with your microbiome or candida overgrowth, things like that. It's just drink your ginger tea every day. It's wonderful for menstrual cramping. And I love making up a little roller bottle blend for people who deal with really severe menstrual cramps. And ginger is always one of the essential oils that I put into the mixture because it's so helpful and calming and soothing. It's great for ear infections. Again, it's a circulatory enhancer. It's good for inflammation, stomach flu, and fevers. So ginger has a lot of uses, and there were probably more I could have listed as well. All right, let's go on to garlic. Garlic is in the family Alliaceae. So these are the plants like onions and chives, leeks, things like this. Garlic is a very powerful healing herb in this family. The parts that we use are the bulbs and the scapes. The scapes are the stems that lead up to eventually a flower. Energetically, garlic is warming and drying. And here's the dried. I have some powder here. You can also get garlic cut and sifted as well. It's a circulatory stimulant, and it's really excellent if you've got hypertension. Or even hypotension. It's one of those balancing herbs when it comes to your circulatory system. But I take garlic every single day. It's one of it's part of my protocol for what I use for managing my blood pressure naturally. I love garlic, and I eat a lot of it too. It's an alterative. And this is related to what I was just telling you, that it's an alterative herb is an herb that goes into your body and it balances, it goes where it's needed to go. So if you have hypotension or low blood pressure, it can stimulate the circulatory system. If you have high blood pressure, it opens the artery walls and allows blood to flow more freely. Those are just two of the ways it works. It's much more complex than that. It's amazing what garlic can do in your body for so many different things. It's an expectorant as well, so it helps loosen up stuck mucus if you're sick. You've probably heard of garlic mustard chest plasters, they work. It's an antimicrobial, it's a carminative, so it helps with your digestion, and it's an immunomodulant. An immunomodulating herb is an herb gets in your body, and this is similar to how it works as an alterative, a balancer. It takes your immune system and it either stimulates it if it needs to be stimulated, or it can suppress it slightly if it's overactive. Garlic is such an incredible herb to have available to you. It's a vermifuge. It also kills worms and parasites, and it's a tonic. It can be taken as a food and used every single day. So uses for garlic: hypertension, bacterial infections, fungal infections. It helps to balance cholesterol levels. It helps deal with cold and flu symptoms. It helps congestion in the bronchial passages, bad yeast and bacteria overgrowth in the gut, digestion, diarrhea, worms, insulin resistance. There's actually clinical studies, and I'm not making all this up. There are clinical studies on all of these herbs and how they can be helpful. Garlic, when taken in certain amounts, can actually help balance blood sugar levels. And it's really helpful for asthma as a tonic on a tonic basis. All right, so let's get into sage. Sage is so beautiful. Again, I love to smell it. It's just wonderful. Sage is also a mint, just like thyme is. It comes from the family Lamiaceae, and I love the mints. The mint family is just incredible. They give us so many wonderful healing ways. So I love growing lots of different mints like rosemary and peppermint and spearmint and catnip and lemon balm. There are so many that are so helpful. But sage happens to be in the mint family too. I like to use the leaves. It's warming and drying. It's an aromatic, so yes, it does contain essential oil. And here it is in its dried form. This is also from my garden. It's wonderful. It's an astringent. An astringent means it tightens and tones tissues. So if you're dealing with a lax condition, or let's say just like a sore throat where there's hot inflammation that's, really swollen, sage is amazing. It's a diaphoretic, it's an antiseptic, it's a circulatory stimulant, and it's an antispasmodic for smooth muscles. So it can actually be really helpful for digestion as well. I'm not going to go into an anatomy and physiology lesson, but in your digestive system, we've got smooth muscle that's always pushing and, churning things and making things happen in there so you can digest your food. And sometimes we run into troubles with that. Well, sage is one of those herbs that can be really helpful. Any kind of an antispasmodic that focuses on smooth muscle is really helpful for things like this. So here are some uses for sage: sore throat, any kind of oral care. Sage is excellent for oral care. Excessive sweating. So for some people who just sweat a lot, drinking a little bit of sage with their tea every day is really helpful. It's also helpful for women going through perimenopause or menopause who are experiencing hot flashes. And there are other herbs you can use for that as well, but sage is really helpful. It's wonderful for infections, digestion, diabetes support, toothache, sore muscles, high cholesterol, cognitive health. It's actually one of my favorite herbs to use in terms of helping with focus and helping with memory. Rosemary is another one. I love using the two together. Liver complaints, cold and flu symptoms, and it helps with your energy levels. Sage is just an excellent herb. So as you can see, herbs work. They work amazingly well. The thing is, you can do so much with them. You can make tinctures. This is yarrow tincture. You can make salves. This is an anti-itch salve. It's very beautiful. This is one that contains pretty common herbs as well. You can even find the recipe on my website. Look at this beautiful salve. This is arnica comfrey salve with certain essential oils, and I love it. It just helps soothe aches and pains like there's no tomorrow. Inhalers. And inhalers are incredibly helpful, especially when you're working with children. Roller bottles. More salves. This is Balm of Gilead from foraged cottonwood buds. You probably have a cottonwood tree around you too. And this is dandelion infused oil. I'll be making lotion with this. A glycerite, wonderful for children. A cold sore oil. This is great for shingles and cold sores and things like this. Sprays for your mood or for your diffuser. Anyway, I could just go on and on. This is sunburn spray. There's a lot you can do with the plants around you. You just need to learn what to do and start a little slow and just start, because when you just start, you're going to get momentum. So a lot of people end up struggling to use herbs successfully. There are some reasons for this. Information overload and overwhelm is one of them. There's just so much information out there, and it's seriously paralyzing. In fact, one of my students who studied with me for quite a while, she ended up taking Ditch the Drugstore from me. I didn't think she needed the course, but she ended up taking my Ditch the Drugstore course, and she was so grateful because she told me that it stopped her analysis, or her paralysis by analysis were the words that she used. And it turns out a lot of people have this struggle, and I didn't really realize it because I'm the other kind of person where once I make a decision, I just jump right in and I go for it. I don't really stop to analyze. And there's dangers in that too, because you end up wasting a lot of time and money doing things you don't need to do. And that was me. But other people just don't get started. And it's because there's so much information out there. And then who do you trust? Who do you trust? Frankly, I've taken a lot of herbal courses from a lot of different teachers, and I've taken some very out there herbalism courses, and I've had to work very hard over the years to find herbalists that I trust or schools that I can recommend. And that's actually one of the reasons why I started teaching, because I am a longtime teacher for many, many decades of my life in public school. And I really care about my students. But anyway, you need to figure out which herbs are best for you, and a real person can help you. If you don't have a real person there to ask questions of, you know what, you're just going to be running in circles. And learning everything just isn't possible. You need to figure out exactly what to focus on. Here's Matt. He's one of my students. He went through Ditch the Drugstore with us. Was it the first round or the second round? We're in our third round right now. But he put his home apothecary together. But once he did that, and he was working on other medical issues that he had as well, but he was able to completely stop taking his allergy medications. His doctor also told him that he didn't have to go on meds for his hypertension anymore either. He basically enacted some lifestyle changes and put herbs and essential oils heavily in place in his life. And now he says this: keep an open mind and be willing and ready for life-changing results. And it has been such an honor watching my students take action and really enact some powerful results in their lives. The second thing is lack of a structured plan. Okay, so when I started, I got all excited about learning herbs, and I just did all the things. I wasted so much money. I bought herbs I didn't need, maybe used one time and never used again. It was a little frustrating. So what I do in Ditch the Drugstore is I help you figure out exactly what you need to do to build your home apothecary and which herbs are the best ones for you to start with, so that you're not wasting a lot of time and money. Well, you need to have a way to organize and plan exactly what you need for your unique home. And I've created a workbook where people, if they go through the workbook and take it seriously and follow the directions, which are very simple, you can actually create a really tight, workable plan for your family. And it's been so fun watching people go through that workbook. Having the structure keeps you away from the paralysis by analysis. Like I mentioned, it gives you a place to start. And it also keeps it relaxing and fun. You don't need all the herbs. You just need the ones your family needs. That's it. And, my family is different than your family. My husband and I are grandparents, and our grandchildren live pretty far away. So I keep a few things on hand for kids, but mostly we're dealing with our own and our neighbors. needs. Your family's going to be different. Maybe you have babies or young children, or maybe you're taking care of an elder parent. You can't just say you need these 15 things for your home apothecary. It doesn't work like that. Never seen it work like that. You need to figure out what you need for your family. So here's Cindy. Cindy says that after she took my Ditch the Drugstore course, her confidence in her herbal journey exploded. It was amazing. On graduation day, we have a graduation day at the end of each active round. She got on there and basically started telling us all how many prescription drugs she was able to get off of, and how her home apothecary was coming along, and her family was even excited about it. And it kind of worried me for a moment. So I asked her in private, I said, you always want to do what the things you do with your medications under a doctor's supervision. Okay. You never want to go rogue and not pay attention to your test results. Cindy was extremely responsible. She made sure that she was keeping tabs on her numbers and working with her medical doctor. And she's off her medications. It's really amazing. But she says that she has what she needs ready to go when she needs her things, and she's sharing with her friends and family. And she goes on to say, I have such a better quality of life now. And that's what herbs can do for you. Here's another one that's a big roadblock for people: fear of not having enough time or money. I hear this all the time. I don't have time to learn this. I don't have enough money for this. The fact of the matter is you don't have time not to do it. And you don't have, you're wasting money when you go to the drugstore and buy that $8, I don't even know what it costs anymore, $8 bottle of cough syrup that's full of, dextromethorphan, which is actually a semi-narcotic chemical. And I'll go on a rant, so I'm going to stop right there. Anyhow, these fears keep you trapped. Fear of not having enough time or not having enough money. And I just want to say this, and this is true for all of us. Anything worth learning or doing requires some kind of time and or money investment up front. And then it's an investment. You're going to get that return on investment later in spades. And that's what we want. And that's how herbalism works. The key is to find a program where you can achieve the useful and practical information you need without spending an arm and a leg. And that's what I help people with. But herbalism, you guys, it can be learned. It can be learned and done in the margins of your life. Time is really not the issue. It's the learning of it. And I speed up people's learning. This calming glycerite, literally, it took, 5-10 minutes to actually start. Then you've got a waiting period while the herbs infuse where you're not doing anything with it. And then you strain off the herb, you bottle it up, and look, you've got your beautiful, beautiful glycerite. And I love this stuff, by the way. It just doesn't take a lot of time. You just need a little bit of guidance so you know what to do and how to get things ready quickly. Here's Amy. She's one of my students. Amy says, I've been able to replace my inhaler, which she used to take twice daily, for a simple, safe tincture. That being said, I've not had to take my inhaler for a year now, which is incredible. Amy's been studying with me for a couple of years. She says this has not only helped me not put harmful steroids in my body, it has also saved her $135 a month. You guys, that's just on the inhaler. She's saved money on a ton of other medications. I also want to mention, when Amy came into our group, she was this close to going on dialysis for kidney issues. And once she started using the herbs and getting in touch with her body, with some guidance and some support from our community, she basically didn't have to go on dialysis. Her doctor, he was amazed. He's like, your kidney functions have improved so much. You don't need this. So really, it's really amazing. And needless to say, herbs have changed my life and are helping my husband and I to get healthy. This journey is a blessing. It is, and it is. I've got goosebumps right now because the journey is a blessing. It has been for me in my life. So you might be wondering, how do I get my safe, effective, natural home medicine chest together quickly and easily? So this is where you go from having it be complicated and confusing. Like when I started out, I started learning herbalism back in the days of snail mail. I mean, there wasn't even anything online at that time. It was very frustrating. And now you've got so much online, it's overwhelming. So we've kind of gone from, you know, one point to the other, but I can help you make it simple and strategic. And simple and strategic is the way you want it to be. The answer is Ditch the Drugstore. Ditch the Drugstore is one of my signature courses. It costs $297, and the actual value of everything that's inside of it is around $3,000, probably more. But the real value is it's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. So inside the drugstore course, you've got Herbal Foundations courses. So if you're brand new to this, you can go through a very fast herbal medicine making basics course where I teach you how to make all of the herbal preparations. You also get tons of books with this course. I think there's altogether, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's around 6 or 7 books. Actually 8, because I think I have my Blending for Joy aromatherapy book in there too for you, which is amazing. Maybe even more. There might actually be 9 books because anyway, there's a lot of books and I've got videos. So here's how the course works. First of all, we start off at the beginning of the course going over herbal safety, aromatic safety with essential oils, dosing for children and different people, and we basically lay the foundation so you're safe. The second step is your plan, and that's where your family pharmacy guide comes in. This is the workbook that I was telling you about that you go through and you can make a plan for your family. And if you have trouble with this, the group is super, super supportive, and I'm there. In fact, I'm there once a week when we do active rounds of Ditch the Drugstore to answer your questions. And I'm actually thinking about doing a once a month chat for all time. So if you're joining the Ditch the Drugstore course at a time when we're not in the middle of an active round, I've got I want to say it's over 40 hours of replays from our live recorded chats where you can get your questions answered. So anyway, you can get your plan together. Then the next step, the third step, is to dig into the recipes. So the recipes are laid out in different sections. Okay, so this is the Ditch the Drugstore book that comes with the course. It's downloadable. The print version is available only for students. And what I've done here is I've taken the main common complaints and I've sectioned them off, and I've given you my own formulations and recipes for what works for most people. Now, if you find something that doesn't work, or if you come across an herb that you know you can't take, then you can ask me and just reach out and ask me for substitutions. I'm doing it all the time, and I can help adjust a formula for you. But we've got pain relieving botanical replacements, seasonal allergies and cold and flu replacements, medicine replacements. This is a big section, by the way. It's very large and it has a ton of good stuff in it. Stress, sleep, and relaxation, another very large section, because I have realized that people have trouble with anxiety and sleep. So we can help with that with essential oils and herbs. They're amazing, amazing helpers. Basic first aid. So these are things obviously like sunburn or bug bites or things like this. Female complaints. So we've got a section for menstrual cramps, hot flashes, things like this. Digestion and elimination. We've got a whole section on how to soothe your digestive system, how to make sure that it's healthy and working correctly, because we've got to have a working digestive system to be healthy. Or we're going to be sick. Common skin conditions are listed in here. And then miscellaneous items like bug repellents and nutrition tea and even things for cats and dogs. Next section I put in here is a special section for just keeping your immune systems healthy and well. And this is for your family. And then I've got appendices in here that have cheat sheets that help you know which herb and which oil to use for what, if you need to. and then a conclusion. So this is the book, and this is the primary book, but I've got other books. We've got, this is a very thick book, Aromatic Blending for Joy. I want to say there's over 100 pages in this, and it's really good. It's, if you're dealing with stress and anxiety, this is a wonderful, wonderful book to dig into. The Ultimate Essential Oil Reference Guide, you are going to want this because this helps you know how many drops of essential oil to use for different people. It's very easy to stay safe if you've got the correct, guidance and guidelines and things like this. One of the courses that's included is my Healing Herbs of the Bible course. There's a whole book that goes with this and has recipes. And this is just a fun course that I created because I find digging into the ancient uses of herbs is really fascinating. This one comes with the course as well, Kitchen Spices for Whole Body Health. This is recipes from your herbal kitchen. So this is where you can, we just looked at 5 spices you can use, right? So this is where you can actually dig in a little deeper and start looking at other spices that are really helpful. We've got actually more than what I'm going to show you here, but we've got the first aid guide using herbs and essential oils. And this has many, many recipes in addition to the ones in the book. And then we have herbal salves, oils, butters, and balms. So if you love skincare and you love, using natural things, then here are some ideas for you as well. All right. So you've got books, you've got videos, you've got a live support group. That it's just truly amazing, the experience that people have when they go through Ditch the Drugstore. There is a money back guarantee. If you notify me within the time frame that I have listed, then I give you a full refund, no questions asked. And look how peaceful that lady looks pouring her tea. You guys, wanting change is step 1, but step 2 is taking it. You've got to take a chance and make the investment of time and money. All right. So I promised you at the end of this that I would make sure that you got your free book, 5 Herbs, okay, for your home apothecary. This contains recipes in it. It's a beautiful 29-page book that you can use. It's got all the information from the webinar and it's got your recipes. So just go to this website right here, https:// B as in boy, I, T as in Tom, .ly/ 5 Herbs book, FIVEHERBS BOOK. Okay, so that's basically if you just type into your browser bit.ly/5 Herbs book, it's going to come up. And it's my gift to you for being here, listening to this presentation. And I just want to say one more thing about Ditch the Drugstore. This is the link to the Ditch the Drugstore course directly if you want to take a look at what's inside of it and sign up. Lou Clark, one of my students from my first round, says, take the course. It's very empowering to realize you can provide safe and effective medicine for your family that you made yourself. And it really is. It's I wish I could have you feel what I felt when I realized that I am not taking any medicine anymore, and every single thing that's in the drugstore I make. It's literally, I can't even tell you what an amazing feeling that is. Courtney, who's a nurse and who's one of my students, says, this course has changed my life. You'll be astonished at what you can accomplish. And she put together just a beautiful apothecary, and she shared pictures of it in the group. And students share what they're doing and share their apothecaries and their ways to organize and labeling. It's really neat. It's a wonderful, wonderful group of students. Sandy says, we have just not been sick since we started using herbs regularly. I can't thank you enough for giving me the practical instruction and encouragement that I needed. And that's what I do. I care so deeply, you guys, for you, for my students. I really feel strongly that we need an herbalist in every home and in every neighborhood. I hope that you'll trust me to be that person for you. All right, here you go again. Download the Fiber Herbs Guide. It's https://bit.ly/five herbs book. And that's going to bring you to a page where you can let me know where to send it to you. All right. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. And I would love to have you join us in Ditch the Drugstore if you feel like it is something that you would love to do. And again, let me go back to that link. If you are interested in taking a look at it, it's https://bit.ly/ditch the drugstore. Okay. It's really easy. So bit.ly/ditch the drugstore. All right, you guys, I'm Heidi Villegas. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am here to help you. I am here to support you. I am here to be a person who can really speed up your herbal learning process and help you get going. All right. I love you guys and have an awesome day. And it was really wonderful chatting with you during this webinar.